you fear from the Milwaukee Bucs?
Is that really what you prefer?
This is a real segment?
Yes.
Is that really?
Excuse me.
Did you say the Milwaukee Bucs?
The Tampa Bay Bucs. Damn it. The Tampa
We did
Bay
What
Bucs.
the hell are we doing? We're not playing Milwaukee anytime
Hey,
soon?
we talk about what we want to talk about.
I think that
is the Tampa Bay
I think
Bucs.
we've already played Milwaukee both times this year. Like,
The Tampa Bay Bucs. That's how much your question rattled me. Is I want you to know, like, if you think this job is easy, that's fine.
Peel back the curtain,
I
Kevin.
totally get that. Is before we go on, and I don't mean like minutes before, I mean like seconds before, is he'll be like, live. And he's like, why do they call it tic-tac-toe? There's no tick or tack or toe. Why isn't it called X's and O? Like, that's what he's saying to me with his mic off while I'm like, welcome back to the KNC Masterpiece on 105.3 The Fan.
now we're talking about the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, the Tampa Bay Bucs. I apologize.
Now do more of the people that we've worked with in the past and stuff that's happened.
Oh, man. That feels like that might get me in trouble.
Oh, okay. All
Tampa
right.
Bay. Who am I most scared of?
Oh,
Yes.
You're afraid to talk about DJ. He's right down the hall, Kevin.
I like
Corey,
DJ. Remember
I'm
that
going
one
to
time
give
he threw
you.
up?
I'm going to give you my two
Uh-huh.
without saying in order.
All right.
Who are you more afraid of, Tom Brady or Mike Evans?
I guess out of those two, Tom Brady.
Because he has to get the ball there.
Yeah. Mike Evans, I'm actually more afraid of Godwin than I am of Mike Evans.
Fact.
Mike Evans can break a game open. I don't think the Cowboys will let him, but underneath the yards after catch from Chris Godwin are the thing that scare me the most. So I'm out of the receivers, I'm more afraid of Godwin.
So the first ever pass from old Sammy Howell, Art House kid, is
It's not.
they get, and this is why Godwin, they get him into a slot area, and it's a zone coverage because nobody obviously was carrying him. He gets into, was it Clark. He gets into his area. There's no way he's going to stay with him. Hal makes the pretty simple pass, hits him on the run, lets him then turn it up the field for 7 yards for a touchdown. That does seem more Godwin-like than Mike Evans-like. Do you think that Diggs is just going to follow Evans everywhere to make his – because
it does. It's not
Diggs
conducive.
has made Mike Evans' life very miserable playing the Cowboys.
It's not. I mean, obviously, you want Anthony Brown out there, and people are be like, "I hate Anthony Brown." That's fine. Like, he was better than most of the options at second cornerback for a lot of different teams. I don't think it's conducive to their defense and what they want to accomplish to just say pair up with Mike Evans.
Okay.
They love the opportunity
Just
to
stay
say
on this side.
just to you set up, and now as the plays going into motion, everything, you don't have to switch stuff up. You don't have to move things around. Everybody knows what their job is supposed to be, and it's deceptive to the quarterback in a way of, okay, they didn't move a safety, so now, and I know that this guy's not following him, so now he's trying to play the chess piece. He's moving things around. It's a lot of Tetris.
Yes.
You're just shifting things around to see what fits where, and then you go, okay, there's my spot. But when the Cowboys can line up and just say, you have this side of the field, you have this side of the field, and everything in between, that's when they are at their best. Now, because they don't have the best cornerback opposite Diggs right now, their best option, they got to figure, that's why I'm afraid of Godwin too, is because I think if they try to say, well, more often than not, if you're Tampa Bay, you want to say, Mike, try to beat Diggs today. Go out there and try and beat Diggs, and we're going to live with everything else.
I'll lose
if
that
you have
matchup
not
every
not
time.
Mike Bassick, Mike Evans.
I was slow when I was 20 years old.
If you have 44 yards in this game and no touchdowns, that's fine, because we think that Chris Godwin is going to be, and our other guys are going to be able to do a lot better against their second options.
So is your answer Godwin?
Godwin is definitely who I fear the most.
Okay.
I think that's a savvy answer, and here's why I do not actually fear Mike Evans in this game. And I know that Mike Evans, you know what? Let's go ahead and fire this off. Let's cut number 3. This is Mike Evans talking about maybe who he's going to go up against.
I mean, they're down at corner. They got 2 guys injured. There were some solid players. The backup is solid. We're watching more film on him. 26. He's made some plays, but when we're healthy, it doesn't matter who the DBs are. So hopefully we get a lot of cover 1. I love that. So Yeah, and Diggs is a really good corner as well. So, he's matched me 2021, and first game of the season, he was on me a little bit, but not the whole game.
So I understand his point, and if I was a wide receiver, I would also be pumped about going up against the secondary.
And in the history of Dan Quinn's defenses, he did like to take a lot of the middle, like just say, hey, we're going to clog up the middle, and we're going to do single high stuff. We're going to do this single high safety thing, and that's what he's talking about. That's what Mike Evans is saying. If I get single high coverage, we can force that safety to be confused. And Tom Brady is one of the most accurate quarterbacks against single high coverage there is.
And safety play might be the key to this. I was shocked when I looked into the Mike Evans-Tom Brady connection. By the way, when he says, oh, they're healthy, my ass, they're healthy, maybe at wide receiver. But the whole reason they've run
He's been taught by Tom Brady to say those things.
Which is probably smart. I will say that's smart for sure. Is they still have issues on their offensive line, which has led to this specific problem. First 2 seasons of Tom Brady and Mike Evans, just unreal. 26 touchdowns versus 5 interceptions when targeting Mike Evans. This year, keep in mind, he had a game for 207 yards and 3 touchdowns. Keep that in mind. This year, the Tom Brady to Mike Evans connection, 6 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. When he targets Mike Evans, it does not go the way that you think. And let's not pretend like they just went through a murderer's row of defenses all year and the Cowboys can't possibly contend. That's why I think you're right, Corey. Safety play could be huge because safeties might have the opportunity to feast on Brady.
But you're not saying that Mike Evans is a bum. I just want to make sure that's clear. You're not saying he's a bum.
No.
Because somebody will take it that way and be like, oh, you just said he can't do anything.
That connection has not been on point. And for people who are like, yeah, but if it is, you're right.
Yeah.
If it is, they're screwed.
Yeah, just like if the connection with Dak Prescott and all his receivers is on point.
Absolutely. And that's why I've seen multiple people from the 6'8" Fournette, from another 6'8" Fournette and Evans. If that is the case, you're in a lot of trouble. I agree. Mike brought this up. If Tampa, I would be way more concerned if Tampa puts together a run-based scoring drive to start the game than I would by, let's say they systematically move down the field by running the ball and score a touchdown. I'm more concerned about that than a Dak pick 6 by a mile, because Dak has shown at least the ability in most games to bounce back from that. It's frustrating, agreed, but to bounce back from that. If Tampa can run, they haven't been able to run all season. If they can run against this defense, it's going to be a long, long night.
Can I ask this question? Because I'm sorry I don't know more about this player. I know he's good. Does Devin White rush from the outside a lot? He doesn't have a lot of sacks. He has 5.5 sacks. I'm just wondering... when we're talking about the fear, we know the wide receiver stats, we know quarterback stats and running back stats. What I'm wondering, guys, is Tyron Smith, Corey, you're watching more of this than I'm watching, doesn't look good. Is Devin White going to be the person to take advantage of Tyron Smith trying to keep him in front of him and cause Dak Prescott to throw the ball when he doesn't want to?
There are times when Devin White operates as kind of your more... I don't want to say traditional linebacker because that's not accurate either, but he has a bigger concern with winning the line of scrimmage than hitting the quarterback. Like, right. I think I'm more concerned about Devin White and probably Levante David too when it comes to shutting down the run.
Okay.
I think those would be my primary concerns in terms of shutting down the run. And then obviously Vita Vea comes up as well.
Yeah, and he's in the middle.
Yes.
So obviously I know that he's not going to ever match up against Tyron Smith. I'm just wondering who's the guy that could make Tyron Smith look old and done, and then also playing on the opposite side of the field that he's used to.
I was going to say, it's weird because Vita Vea is their leading sack getter this year, right. But that's not who
you middle.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not who you would think of. I think the potential is there in the passing game to hold off on the edges. Okay. But the problem is going to be, and that's why having Biotish back is going to be such a big deal, right? Are they going to gobble you up on the inside? And if that's the case, are they going to be hitting the rush from the inside, not from the outside? And will that crush your run game? I think it's a non-traditional, I guess, pass rush, although
Right.
you've seen it more and more.
I'm wondering, Anthony Nelson, I'm sorry, I don't know much about him. I know he has 5.5 sacks. He has a lot less tackles. To your point, Devin White and Levante David both have 124 tackles. So they are playing a way more traditional linebacker role in the tackles that they have for the year. But I'm just wondering, who's the guy that could cause us problems from the outside?
And he has picked up several of those sacks in the back half of the season. I know it's only 5.5, but
Right.
he has at least a couple in the last 3 games.
Yeah, a lot of fan text saying, White up the middle is where his sacks,
Yeah.
blitzes up the middle is
Yeah.
where that's going to be.
Okay.
Now, that's where, I really need Bjadic back, or Baidez. Definitely need him back and ready. Not just back and like, hey, I'm barely here. I need him back and ready for this game because there's a lot of responsibility up the middle that he's been taking over all season long. And you listen to Wolchuk, you listen to Broadus, he was considered their most improved player this year because of the way that he's grown from last year on. So this is awesome. But if he's not there, if he's not good enough, then that's a big struggle for the Cowboys. Can they get to the outside with Tony Pollard? Absolutely. And then can they do some things up the middle with Ezekiel Elliott? That's where you're hoping that they can kind of pound that a little bit.
Is Winfield healthy?
Believe so.
Are you worried about him being the intercept guy?
Yes.
Always.
And he is good to go.
Okay, so I'm just wondering, I'm looking at Carlton Davis. Is he considered their best cornerback? He has 12 pass deflections. I know he only has 1 interception, but that seems like...
I think it might
Like
be
who's-
actually Jamel Dean.
Okay.
He has been really good at pass defenses in the postseason.
Okay.
And so, I don't know if that fits the same, obviously that's a different thing than interceptions, but I think Jamel Dean might be the guy, or people, of course, bring up Sean Murphy Bunting, he has an interception in 3 of his 5 playoff games. So,
Okay.
it's a small sample size, but that's pretty dang good. In 5 of your playoff games, you have interceptions in 3 of them. So, I mean, there are concerns. And don't get me wrong, I have concerns about Dak throwing an interception. I just think we're screwed if Tampa Bay's running game, which is worse in the
100%.
NFL, is hitting.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I guess my fear is probably Tom Brady. I think that's the easy answer.
Sure.
But I just wonder
I'm
these...
surprised more people haven't said that so far in the text. Some, but
Yeah. I just worry that his playoff experience, his ability to win in the playoffs is going to somehow carry Tampa to a victory here, where there's other guys to worry about. Winfield, Devin White. I was just wondering, is there a guy where... I don't think there is. I mean, I think CeeDee Lamb has proven he can get open against almost anybody. It's also about Dak making good decisions with the ball, too, where whoever is guarding Noah Brown probably has a good chance of getting an INT.
Yeah, I got a lot of feelings on this, Mike, that if you have a bonehead play, you lose the game. Like that, I think both these
like
teams
a
are
major mistake.
Yeah,
like,
pretty evenly. Like maybe you have 14 seconds left at the end of the game, and you decide to run up the middle and just slide, and then they're like, "Oh, something
or
like that could
a fair
cost them.
catch punt that Turpentine fumbles."
Yeah, these are
Yeah.
pretty evenly matched teams in a lot of respects, and that's why if it's close, I don't think the Cowboys. I'm scared a lot more than I am excited about it because Tom Brady knows how to execute in those moments. Do the Cowboys in playoffs, different world. It's a different world when you're trying to execute in the playoffs when it's all or nothing for you.
And that's why I go back to this, and I think that's a very well-made point, is I will be terrified if it's the fourth quarter and this is a close game. I really will.
Not
because
excited? Man, this is such a fun game to watch.
Hell no. A fun game to watch to me was the fourth quarter of the Colts, or the most of the entirety of the Vikings game. I would love to see their run game go nowhere. The Bucs turn the ball over, and the Cowboys are immediately up 14-0.
Wasn't TCU and Michigan a great game to watch? In Georgia and
Yes,
Ohio
because
State?
I did not have a rooting interest in that game. If I had no rooting interest in this game, then rock on. I hope a lot of the other playoff games, I hope the Chargers and the Jags is an all-time classic, because either way, I'm those aren't my teams. But wouldn't you like to see the Jags win 38-0?
What's TCU stand for?
Texas Christian University.
And Corey, am I hearing this right?
Hmm.
He has no interest in Texas Christian?
I didn't mean it from any religious-based standpoint or anything like that.
You didn't say you hate Texas Christians.
Not at all.
You just said you're just not
No,
interested.
But he didn't say you loved it either.
In them at all, and you don't root for them.
I meant that was a different
If you're a
deal.
Texas Christian,
Oh my gosh.
text in
Okay.
and
Just say,
ask Kevin a
Kevin,
question.
What's your problem?